I'd like to thank you all for coming this evening. We're really grateful for your interest in learning more about Sean and his candidacy for the 11th Congressional District of the U.S. Congress. I've known Sean for almost 10 years now, and I would say that
When you want to go live?
the words that come to mind when I think of him are intelligent, dedicated, thoughtful, committed, resourceful. When I broke my leg last summer, what shows up in my door but a gift certificate for Geraces and a 12-pack of Diet Coke. For my birthday, I got a 12-pack of Diet Coke and flowers. He's a very thoughtful person in that way in relationships. But also, he's very thoughtful in terms of analysis and thinking about issues and important questions that we have as we go forward as a country. And therefore,
to serve their nation, there are many more Americans who find ways to serve the U.S. from the inside in all of our communities across our country. My whole life, I've been surrounded by people who use their skills and talents to make life better for others. From an early age, I realized a way in which I best serve others is through listening. After working with my mother at a local food pantry for many years, I learned that despite the food pantry's patients' crucial need for food, they also need to be heard without judgment. Serving my country means serving the people, and the best way I know how to serve is to represent this District 11 by listening to our needs. According to national polls, less than 10% of Americans have faith that Congress is working for our best interest. Yet they have the ability, through the power and resources they hold, to transform our lives for the better. They can make simple changes, like making Election Day a federal holiday. It might not be transformative to you, but in the city of Cleveland, turnout to vote is around 30%. People work multiple jobs, and around 20% of people do not even have one car in their house. Having this day set aside for us to soak in our freedom, enjoy our ability to select who we want to send to serve us, will demonstrate us living out our values. Current leaders can continue to work with what has worked in the past, like reinstituting the low-income child tax credit. We have been fighting poverty for generations here in the richest country in the history of the world. There are over 14,000 nonprofits just in this community alone, many designed to help the impoverished. We have SNAP benefits, auxiliary services, and more that are funded by our tax dollars to serve those that are in poverty. Yet, we found an idea that was able to cut nationwide poverty in half in just 2 years. Absolutely incredible. The idea is so simple too. Give poor people more money. $3,600 for every child under 6, and $3,000 for every child between 6 and 17. And what do you know? When people are given the resources they need, they know what to do. This must be the policy for whoever represents this district. Being one, if not the poorest, city in the nation, where it's estimated that 1 in every 2 children are even going to bed hungry. This is a crucial policy that must be advocated for publicly and behind closed doors with the vigor that our lives depend on. Congress can also make changes that we all agree on, like banning assault weapons. In the last 2 months, we've seen at least 2 more examples of why this ban must come. At Appalachia High School, where mere days into the school year, tragedy struck. And in Kentucky, where a former Army combat engineer decided to open fire on innocent commuters on the I-75 highway. We have a major mental health problem in our nation, and the more these shootings arise, the worse it gets. Healing our nation will take time, but in order to heal, we have to stop the bleeding first. From the leaders who hold the power to end this, I am personally sick and tired of hearing about thoughts and prayers. It is time to discuss the policy. In January of 2023, Congresswoman Macbeth of Georgia drafted a resolution to ban the import, sale, manufacture, transfer, or possession of semi-automatic assault weapons and large-capacity ammunition feeding devices, sort of like the strap or belt that Rambo would wear. This bill would not ban antique guns. Law enforcement past and present could still own such weapons, and certain ones could be grandfathered in and would not have to be banned. But those that are banned, the government is willing to buy those back. I would say this is a fairly reasonable law. probably a little lenient, but moving us in the right direction. It has 208 co-sponsors and needs 218. There are currently no Republicans signed for that bill. Generally, we just say that and we move on. But sit with it for just a moment with me. Not one Republican, through all the body of evidence we have of the destruction that comes from these weapons, is willing to say that this is the right way forward for our national security, so that we can be safe together. But my job would not be to blame or shame. It would be to convince these elected officials that this might be one of the most noble ways that you can serve our country. It might cost you your seat, a fundraiser, or an endorsement or two, but you would ensure that every child in America can go to school and feel safe, so that they can focus solely on learning and building friendships in the classroom and not where they are going to hide. As an independent, I believe I have a better chance of convincing Republicans versus the Democrats might. Having these ideas and hopes, I found that I didn't want, but I needed to run. So I had to answer the first question: could I win? I found that the current congressperson won with only 30% of eligible voters picking them. In this district, according to the Board of Election, 68% of registered voters are registered independent. I want to represent the majority of what our district identifies as. To get onto the ballot, running as independent, I needed 2,179 signatures. I welcome the challenge because it gave me the opportunity to go out 7 nights a week for the last 18 months and meet people of this District 11 where they are at. Edgewater Beach, parks, concert series, downtown farmers markets, festivals celebrating different diverse cultures and heritages, and in people's streets and backyards. And I listened. And while over 6,000 people signed for me to get into the ballot, only 2,819 counted. That is why it is essential to check your voter registration by October 6th. We must use one of the greatest rights that we have, to have a say in who makes choices that affect our lives and the lives of future generations. Because in the end, we all want the same things. To be heard, to unite as a country to tackle problems instead of falling into a party line, to listen to both sides of the aisle. I want to be part of a governing body that doesn't distinguish between blue and red, but rather brings people together. We can spend less and get more, and regain the feeling of being our best as a country. Enough of the getting by, and more of the getting ahead. It is rare to have a politician who is independent from party politics. But as independent, I'm looking to incorporate the best of what the Democrats and Republicans can offer to make meaningful change. Let's be that change together. Let's show them that we can send a representative to Congress to be a servant for the people and not a party. This is a chance that we have now, and I am humbly asking for your support to make that happen. It's possible if you and your neighbors and your coworkers and your friends show up. If this campaign excites you, there are a few ways that you can help. Right now, there's no debate set up between the candidates of this race. If you know anyone that works for a local news agency, let them know that you'd like to see a debate happen. If you know other friends who would be excited about this campaign, I'd be happy to talk in your backyards and answer whatever questions that you have. If you can't do that, you can show your support for the campaign in your yard. It'd be incredibly helpful to have a yard sign. If you don't want to do a yard sign, pay for someone else's. And if you can't pay for someone else's, I'd be ecstatic. If nothing else, I earned your vote. Recently, at the advice of my social media director, I posted the top 10 things I love about this district, covering the Metro Parks, Playhouse Square, our institutions, and local businesses. But the best part, by far, is the people. And there is no better personification of this district's spirit and connection than the Finucane family. Dr. Finucane created and had a hand in making most of the programs I participated in at John Carroll University. These programs allowed me to listen to school children, the homeless, nonprofit leaders, kids in juvenile detention, and migrants to learn what needs to be done. This family has hosted close to 1,000 students, opened their doors to make foreign exchange students feel at home, and to connect with students on levels far exceeding what is the norm. Tom runs a business employing members of this community and keeping our local community strong. You are what make this place so special. You choose and continue to choose to share your talents and your resources with those around you, giving fuel to students, neighbors, and strangers, just to drive their own passions forward. God bless you, Phoenix family. Here, there is no shortage of dedicated warriors across this community, focused on giving people the help they need to get out on their own once again. It would be an honor to represent you in Congress. Thank you for being here. Live free. God bless you and these United States of America.